What's going on, guys? I wanted to talk today about this. This is a re-release of Welcome to My Nightmare by Alice Cooper, the concert film from 1975. And notable for its inclusion for the first time ever released on DVD, The Nightmare, Alice Cooper, The Nightmare, which was an ABC TV special. And we're going to dig into this, look at some of the backstory, and really check it out right after this. 1973 was a transitional year for the Alice Cooper Band. Their album Muscle of Love, which was released in November of 1973, was a glimpse at a band that seemed to be falling apart. And after the album came out, if you listen to it, you can tell like it's a departure for them, but you can also tell that it's missing a little bit of the fire from earlier stuff. So after the release of Muscle of Love, the band went on hiatus, which never really ended. 1974 comes along and there's no new album, but there is a greatest hits collection. And a lot of times there is no sure way to tell. There's no better way to tell that a band might be done than you get a greatest hits album. Especially because it came out in 1974 and the band had really only been viable for 4 or 5 years at that point. They'd been around for longer than that, of course, but they'd really only been putting out hit material for 4 to 5 years. So while they were on hiatus, Alice Cooper, the man, went into the studio and created a concept album that pretty much changed everything, both for the band, both for him. Welcome to My Nightmare, the concept album that was released in March of 1975, would define Alice Cooper's solo career for the next 4 decades and would crystallize the persona of Alice. Alice Cooper was now on the Johnny Carson show, and he was on the Smothers Brothers show doing bits. He was on the Muppet Show. He was also rubbing elbows with the Hollywood elite. So some say that this is when Alice Cooper sold out. And other people say that this is when Alice Cooper was just getting started doing the thing that he would do and is still doing. Okay, so let's talk about the Welcome to My Nightmare film, the concert film itself. It was shot in late 1975. His lead dancer is Cheryl, the woman that would soon be his wife the next year. It starts with pictures of him as a kid. He's holding a puppy, like him not in character, but him as Vince. And it's interesting to me that he was always so upfront about his other persona, about the fact that this is performance. This is not real. This is not something that you need to get too upset about. We're having fun. This is a show. It was always clear. It was always made very clear up front. The concert film is kind of like Led Zeppelin's The Song Remains the Same. It has a couple of vignettes that wrap around it, one at the start, one at the end, and in the middle is just a concert film. And if you go to an Alice Cooper show now versus an Alice Cooper show from the 70s, not a lot's changed. There's a lot of spiders, there's a lot of monsters, there's a lot of fake gore effects or shocking elements or whatever, but they're all presented so larger than life that you're not afraid. You're just like, wow, look at that. Even the balloons, the finale of balloons falling from the sky is presented in this concert. Like he was doing that back then. So many of the things that he still does today were set on this tour. The video quality, which you can see from the stills here, I'm not going to show any video footage because I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm just sticking with stills here that I've taken from the video. It's very soft. I assume this was shot on film. You can tell this was shot on film, or it sure looks like film. But it's so grainy and so low grade. I don't know if this is not something that they could have restored, or if it was edited on video and then the subsequent film was lost, because that seems to happen a lot, especially from this era, 70s, 80s, even like early VHS stuff. You edit on video and then the film elements are just lost. So I feel like this could have been presented better. It could have been given like a high definition upgrade if they could have tracked down the film elements for this. But apparently they didn't, and this is probably as good as this is going to look. So the disc presents, in my opinion, it presents Welcome to My Nightmare as the main feature, and the Nightmare TV special from 1975 as the bonus feature. Even looking on the back, like the concert film is featured first. I would flip that. I think that the real draw for this is The Nightmare. Now, this was a TV special that was made for ABC. It aired Friday, April 25th on the In Concert series from 11:30 to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. And it was a big deal. They released this on VHS in 1983, and it wasn't in print for very long. And that was the last time that you could commercially buy The Nightmare. When I think of Alice Cooper, I think of what he's doing in this special. It's just tailor-made for his style. The co-star of this is Vincent Price. It's Alice Cooper and Vincent Price. Vincent Price was, I don't want to say retired, because he wasn't retired. He continued to act pretty much until he died. But I would say that this was the twilight of his career. The glory days of the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, and all those great horror movies and the noir movies that he made before that, those were long in the rear view. And at this point, he was making very cheap, very low-grade, poorly received, populist kind of stuff. He was also, people talk about Vincent Price being in his Baroque period, and this was absolutely in his Baroque period. Like, there's not a hint of nuance in his performance, right? Like, he's just over the top with everything. But that's kind of the charm. That's what you want, and that is exactly what he's bringing to this production. Vincent Price plays the spirit of the nightmare, and Alice Cooper plays Stephen, a recurring character from some of his music, which is a little boy who gets lost in his own nightmare. So what essentially happens over the course of the film is that Alice Cooper wanders through this nightmare with every single song from the Welcome to My Nightmare album being represented in its entirety. It's like all these little music videos compiled one after the other. Like a little concept video package to accompany the concept album. And it even has the Ballad of Dwight Fry in it, which was not even on Welcome to My Nightmare. So it all ties together for this, loose plot, very surreal, but also very entertaining. I don't know that this has been done before. I kind of feel like this is cutting edge. I know that like the Beatles and The Who and the Rolling Stones would make videos so that they didn't have to go to a studio, or so they didn't have to go like to the Ed Sullivan Show and perform. They would make a video and they would send it out, and they play these videos on television. And so there were promo videos, but I don't know that anybody before this had done a long form promotional video that was like an hour. It was the entire album plus a song from another album in video form. I don't know that anybody had done that before. Some of the lyrics have been changed. I think it's only on one song, which is Only Women Bleed. And, it's the opening line of the song pretty much. And ironically, the lyrics for Cold Ethel and the visuals for Cold Ethel are untouched. So they had a problem with Only Women Bleed, but they were fine with the subject matter of Cold Ethel, which is, it's crazy. Censors, right? So the television special aired before the concert film was released, which is another reason that I feel like these should be reversed. The concert should be second to the promotional film, which was, released like a month after Welcome to My Nightmare debuted. And it's so interesting to see how many of the elements from the TV special went on to be a part of the live show. I mean, the lighting, the dancing, the choreography, the overall motif of what he was going for with the television special, he really did bring to live audiences. It's kind of amazing. It would have been crazy to see this show live in 1975, maybe early 1976, to see the live concert and what he was able to bring to a stage environment. Like, it's mind-blowing. And it's so, what's amazing about this is that there's such a clarity of vision and there's such a purity of concept. Like, he really knew what he was going for. It feels like something that somebody spent years on preparing, but you know that he didn't. It had to have just been over the course of a matter of months. Behind the scenes, there's some interesting stuff. Alice Cooper and Shep Gordon, his longtime manager, actually financed the film themselves to get it made. And it actually went on to win an Emmy for editing, of all things. Like, the editing is great, especially for this time period. Now, the stills for this you're watching, it's obviously video. This is videotape. There was no cleaning up done. I don't think you can clean it up any better than it looks here. But it just adds to the aesthetic. It just adds to that mid-70s crazy, wacky, druggy, frankly, feel of just like darkness, and it works. And the video, even like the video, how would this look if it was cleaned up in HD or something like that? Like, I can't imagine it would be as effective as it is here in this washed out, video edited patina that just kind of gives it a hazy, dreamy quality. Like, it totally works for it. And if you're an Alice Cooper fan, especially a longtime Alice Cooper fan, you probably don't care. You're just happy to see this thing. It's really awesome to have this. They have included, here's the packaging. This is, you know, it looks great. It looks like a Blu-ray case, but it's not. This is just the DVD case from Eagle Rock Entertainment, I believe is the name of the company. This is Eagle Vision, I'm sorry, Eagle Vision. But the booklet is awesome. First of all, behind the booklet we have the track listing for both features. But check this out, guys. We've got the original announcement for the special that was going to be on television. We have, I guess this was like a press release or a TV listing. We have all the credits list, the musicians. It should be noted that most of the band that plays on the Welcome to My Nightmare album is the band that's on both. I don't think you see the band in the ABC special, but you do see the band, of course, in the concert footage. Dick Wagner and Steve Hunter, the two guitarists. What's really cool to me is this right here is a letter that Vincent Price wrote to Alice Cooper. And he's basically saying, thank you for letting me be on your special. Thank you for this collaboration. It was such a great time. And he's basically saying, like, I think this was at Christmas time, too. Yes, what a lovely Xmas, etc. Surprise! What a lovely Xmas surprise you gave us. I really enjoyed the opening in Tahoe. Amazed at the vitality and the audience. Amazed at the vitality in the audience. It's terrible, I'm sorry. Amazed at the vitality in the audience. So, he's basically saying, like, thank you so much for making me a part of what you did, and here's to a wonderful 1976. That's awesome. I miss booklets in packages like this so that I could read more and learn more about what it is that I'm watching. So all in all, I think that this is I would go as far as to say an essential package for a classic rock fan or a music fan or an Alice Cooper fan or a horror fan or a Halloween fan. It crosses over so many genres. Like this appeals to my Vincent Price collection. This appeals to my Alice Cooper collection. And it has so many things that are interesting about it. Like, it's so fascinating to me that even back then, he was never distancing himself from who he was in real life, you know, and who he was in real life was probably pretty crazy too. I understand. I know that there was a lot of addiction and a lot of alcoholism going on, but he never pretended that he was just Alice. Everybody always knew that it was an act and it was a performance, and that I feel like that invited us into the haunted house so that we were also inhabitants of the haunted house, and it wasn't like we were being victimized. It was like we were in on it, and it was all part of the show, and we were in on the show. And I think that that's probably what drew people to his media celebrity in the mid-70s too, and maybe still now, because he still does performances on or appearances on things. It's because we know that it's all just for fun. We're in on the joke, and by being in on the joke, we're allowed to enjoy it. We don't have to be afraid of it. We don't have to judge it. We don't have to look down our nose at something. We're in on it. And I think that's probably one of the things that he's done really right. So from this point forward, Alice Cooper as a band, no more. And Alice Cooper, the man, went on to 40 plus years of a career, solo, selling out arenas. And the original band actually did get back together so there was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, but then they put out Paranormal, an album from 2017 that features 2 songs. It's Alice Cooper's album, but it features 2 songs with the original band. So maybe there'll be more stuff from them in the future. So guys, thanks for walking through the nightmare with me. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe down below, and visit serialatmidnight.com for a lot more content about movies and music, horror, Halloween stuff. There's so much going on at serialatmidnight.com. I want to thank you again for taking the time to watch this video, and I will catch you later.